The Silent Watchers. The Zorith Empire had ruled the galaxy for over 2,000 years. Their ships were massive, their weapons unstoppable, and their armies numbered in the billions. They had conquered 400 star systems, enslaving or destroying every species that stood in their way. The galaxy had learned to fear the sight of their crimson warships appearing in orbit, bringing death and chains to any world unlucky enough to catch their attention. Commander Thex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fong, watching another world burn below. The planet was called Viridian, home to a peaceful species of blue-skinned beings who had spent centuries building beautiful cities of glass and light. They had offered no resistance when the Zorith arrived. They had simply begged for mercy. Thex had given them none. The Zorith Empire did not show mercy. They showed only power. The bombardment continued for hours. Cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled away. Millions of lives ended in moments. Thex watched it all with cold satisfaction. This was the way of the universe. The strong consumed the weak. The Zorith were the strongest, and so they consumed everything. It was simple logic, as unchangeable as gravity or time. But as Thex turned away from the dying planet, his second officer approached with a worried expression. "Commander, we have detected something unusual. There is a signal coming from the outer system. It is very faint, but our sensors picked it up." Thex frowned. "What kind of signal?" "Unknown, sir. It does not match any known species in our database. It appears to be some kind of probe, just sitting there in the asteroid belt, watching us." Thex felt a small flicker of curiosity. The Zorith had mapped nearly every species in the galaxy. They knew who was dangerous and who was prey. An unknown signal meant an unknown species, and unknown species were either new victims or potential threats. "Send a patrol ship to investigate. Capture the probe and bring it back for analysis." The patrol ship departed within minutes, a sleek vessel carrying 50 soldiers. They reached the probe's location quickly. What they found was strange. The probe was small, barely larger than a transport shuttle. It had no weapons, no shields, nothing that suggested it was dangerous. It just floated there among the asteroids, its sensors pointed directly at the Crimson Fong. When the patrol ship tried to capture it, the probe simply activated a small engine and moved away, staying just out of reach. The soldiers pursued it deeper into the asteroid field, but the probe was fast and agile, slipping between rocks with impossible precision. After an hour of fruitless chase, the patrol ship captain reported back to Thex. "Commander, we cannot catch it. The probe is too quick. It seems to be leading us somewhere." Thex considered destroying the probe from a distance, but his curiosity had grown. "Where is it leading you?" "There is a larger object ahead, hidden behind a cluster of asteroids. We cannot get a clear scan, but it is definitely artificial. It might be a ship." Thex made his decision. "Approach carefully. If it is a ship, disable it and bring the crew back for questioning." The patrol ship moved forward, weapons ready. They rounded the asteroid cluster and found themselves staring at something they had never seen before. It was a ship, but unlike any ship in Zorith records. It was sleek and dark, its hull covered in strange angles that seemed to absorb sensor beams. It was small compared to Zorith warships, perhaps only 300 meters long, but there was something about it that made the patrol ship captain nervous. The ship just floated there, silent and still. No lights, no power signatures, nothing to indicate anyone was aboard. "Unknown vessel, this is the Zorith Empire. You are ordered to surrender immediately or be destroyed." Silence. The patrol ship captain waited, growing more uneasy with each passing second. "Commander Thex, the vessel is not responding. Should we fire?" Thex was about to give the order when something changed. The mysterious ship suddenly came to life. Lights flickered across its hull. Its engines ignited with a blue glow that seemed almost alive. And then it moved. The ship accelerated faster than anything the Zorith had ever witnessed. It shot forward, closing the distance to the patrol ship in seconds. The patrol ship captain barely had time to scream a warning before the mysterious vessel opened fire. But these were not normal weapons. The beams that struck the patrol ship did not explode or burn. They simply erased. Wherever the beams touched, matter ceased to exist. Armor vanished. Systems disappeared. Soldiers were there one moment and gone the next, leaving nothing behind, not even debris. The patrol ship tried to fight back, but it was useless. The mysterious vessel moved like a dancer, avoiding every shot with ease. Within 30 seconds, the patrol ship was gone, completely erased from existence. On the bridge of the Crimson Fawn, Thex stared at his viewscreen in shock. He had just watched 50 trained soldiers and a military vessel disappear as if they had never existed. What kind of weapon could do that? What species possessed such technology? His tactical officer's voice shook as he spoke. "Commander, the unknown ship is moving toward us. It is accelerating beyond anything our sensors can properly track. All ships, battle stations. Prepare to engage." Thex's command rang through the fleet. 100 Zorith warships powered their weapons and shields. They formed a defensive wall in front of their flagship, ready to destroy this mysterious threat. But as the dark ship approached, something appeared on every viewscreen in the Zorith fleet. It was a face. A human face. The being looked almost like the Zorith in basic form, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, but there were differences. The skin was a strange tan color. The eyes were smaller but somehow more intense. And when the being spoke, its voice was calm and cold, carrying a weight that made even Thex feel uncomfortable. "I am Captain Sarah Mitchell of the United Earth Navy. You have been observed. You have been judged. You have been found guilty of crimes against sentient life." The image paused, and those cold eyes seemed to stare directly at Thex. "The galaxy thought humanity was gone. You thought you had destroyed us 3 years ago when you burned our colony world. You were wrong. We survived. We adapted. We evolved. And now, we have come to deliver justice. The price of arrogance." Commander Thex felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. Not the simple caution a warrior feels before battle, but genuine, deep fear that gripped his chest like an iron hand. The human's face on his viewscreen showed no anger, no hatred, just a terrible calm certainty that was somehow worse than any threat. "Fire all weapons. Destroy that ship immediately." Thex's order sent 100 Zorith warships into action. Energy beams powerful enough to crack planets lanced through space toward the small human vessel. Missiles by the thousand streaked forward, their warheads capable of vaporizing entire cities. The firepower was enough to destroy a fleet, concentrated on a single target that was barely larger than a shuttle. The human ship did not try to dodge. It did not raise shields. It simply continued forward, directly into the storm of death. Every Zorith officer expected to see it torn apart. Instead, they watched in horror as something impossible happened. The weapons vanished. Every beam, every missile, every destructive force simply ceased to exist the moment it came within 100 meters of the human ship. It was as if space itself was protecting the vessel, erasing anything that tried to harm it. "Impossible," Thex whispered. "No technology can do that. Our sensors cannot explain it," his tactical officer replied, his voice shaking. "The human ship is generating some kind of field that our weapons cannot penetrate. It is not a shield in any conventional sense. It is something else, something we have never encountered." The human ship continued its approach, moving with that same impossible speed and grace. As it passed through the Zorith formation, it did not fire again. It did not need to. The small probe that had led the patrol ship to its doom suddenly multiplied. Dozens of identical probes appeared around the human vessel, then hundreds, then thousands. They spread through the Zorith fleet like a swarm of silver insects. "Commander, the probes are attaching to our ships. They are not weapons, they are just sitting there on our hulls." Before Thex could respond, every probe activated at once. But they did not explode. Instead, they projected images, holographic displays that appeared on every Zorith view screen, on every wall, even in the minds of every soldier through their neural implants. The images showed a world burning. Not Viridian, which still smoldered below them, but a different planet. A beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents, with cities that gleamed in the sunlight. This was New Terra, Captain Mitchell's voice echoed through every Zorith ship. Our colony world. Home to 2 million humans. Families. Children. Scientists. Artists. People who had never harmed anyone, who wanted only to live in peace. The images showed Zorith ships arriving in orbit. They showed the bombardment beginning. They showed cities burning, oceans boiling, people dying by the thousands. The Zorith had done this kind of thing countless times before. It was standard procedure for dealing with new species. Eliminate them quickly before they could become a threat. Your empire attacked us without warning, without negotiation, without mercy. You killed everyone. Men, women, children. You left no survivors. Or so you thought. The images changed, showing a single ship fleeing the destruction. It was damaged, trailing atmosphere and debris, but it escaped into deep space. That ship carried 300 survivors. Engineers. Soldiers. Scientists. And one very angry captain. The holographic display showed the human ship, battered and broken, limping away from the burning world. For 3 years, we have been preparing. Learning. Building. While you continued your conquest, thinking humanity was extinct, we were studying you. We learned how your ships work. We learned how your weapons function. We learned how your empire operates. The display showed images of human facilities, vast workshops in deep space where new technology was being developed. Weapons that defied physics. Ships that moved faster than light in ways the Zorith could not detect. And something else, something that made Thex's blood run cold. The display showed humans connected to machines, their minds linked together in ways that seemed almost magical. Hundreds of human minds working as one, their combined intelligence and creativity focused on a single goal. Revenge. We are not like you, Commander Thex. Captain Mitchell's voice grew harder. We do not conquer for resources. We do not enslave for profit. We do not kill for pleasure. But when you attack us, when you murder our people, when you burn our homes, we respond. The human ship suddenly stopped in the center of the Zorith formation. All around it, 100 warships had their weapons trained on the mysterious vessel, but none dared fire after seeing what happened to the first volley. You want to know what makes humanity different from every other species you have crushed. The captain's face appeared again on every screen, those intense eyes seeming to look into the soul of every Zorith warrior. We do not surrender. We do not give up. We do not forget. You killed 2 million of us. Now you will understand the price of that action. The human ship began to glow. At first, it was just a faint blue light around its hull, but it grew brighter and brighter until it was almost painful to look at. The Zorith sensors went mad, detecting energy readings that made no sense, power levels that should not be possible from such a small vessel. Commander, we need to retreat. The tactical officer's voice was panicked now. Whatever that ship is doing, the energy buildup is beyond anything in our records. All ships, jump to hyperspace immediately. Thex gave the order, abandoning any thought of victory. But it was too late. The human ship released its power, and space itself seemed to scream. The energy did not blast outward like a normal weapon. Instead, it rippled through space like a wave, washing over every Zorith vessel. And wherever that wave touched, ships simply stopped working. Engines died. Weapons went offline. Life support failed. Every system, every circuit, every piece of technology ceased to function all at once. In the terrible silence that followed, the Zorith fleet floated helplessly in space. 100 warships, each carrying thousands of soldiers, reduced to lifeless metal coffins. Only the Crimson Fong retained power, its systems flickering weakly as emergency backup struggled to keep the flagship alive. Captain Mitchell's face appeared one final time on Thex's viewscreen. "Consider this a warning, Commander. Return to your empire. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them that humanity has returned, and we are no longer prey. The next time Zorith ships attack an innocent species, we will be there. The next time you murder civilians, we will respond. And unlike today, we will not show mercy." The human ship turned and accelerated away, vanishing into the darkness of space with that same impossible speed. Behind it, the Zorith fleet drifted in the void, powerless and defeated. On the bridge of the Crimson Fong, Commander Thex stared at the empty viewscreen where the human captain's face had been. For the first time in his long military career, he understood what it meant to be prey. The Zorith Empire had ruled through fear for 2,000 years. But now, there was something in the galaxy that the Zorith feared. And that something was human.